Welcome back to First Strike here on Sports Money. It's a UFC coverage for the big Saturday event. This one happens to be a pay-per-view card, and it feels like we've been absent here as they've been traveling around. Fight nights all over the place, but they'll be back in Las Vegas. They'll be at the T-Mobile. The crowd should be ruckus, and the combat correspondents are here to give us some of their breakdowns here. The Apex Predators of the Octagon, ready to fire up. I got MMA Jeff and Subhuman Gaucho ready to share some of the early looks to beat the books. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to this card. Obviously, this is a pay-per-view card here, and this is the first one in August, maybe. It almost seems like it's been 2 months or so since we've had a pay-per-view card. It's jam-packed with some exciting fighters, in my opinion. I think we're going to see some action. I'm hoping to see some action. We had one fight back out, but being in Vegas, I could see them wrangling in another fighter on the backup and bringing us back to 14. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good card.
Powerful lineup, though, Subhuman Gaucho. You got a fun fight that I can't wait to hear you break down, but we know Patchy Mix is back in the mix as well. None of us are going to talk about Patchy tonight, but how you doing, Sub? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm excited for Patchy's his sophomore effort here. I think he gets back on track, and I think he can, still get wins in the top 15 after this. So I faded him last time, but you still gotta love some Patchy, man. I'm glad Patchy's in the mix.
They stuffed him on a prelim card just to keep him in the mix. So it is what it is, but it's going to be a fun fight night. The goal here, if you're new to the show, is to first and foremost hit the thumbs up button, show some support for us, and get ready. We're going to give you guys 3 fights that we like here early in the week to try to beat the books. We think have the best looks out there. Maybe you use them as parlay builders. You consider these straight up plays. Maybe you go a little bit heavier on these spots than others. But we're here to do it with you. We're going to kick it off with Jeff talking to us about, well, what happens to be the most public dog in U. Is Jeff going to go on the U side with the public? Let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. So we went 3 in a row. We ended up losing my play on the first strike, and then we went 2 in a row, back-to-backs. Looking for the 3rd in a row here. We got Santos and we got Sang Yu. This is an exciting fight, in my opinion. I'm hoping to see some fireworks. Y'all know, if you know me, I like my fireworks. We got the featherweight division here. Both fighters pretty equal, same height, same weight. They're about the same age. I think there's a year difference between the two of them. We got Brazil versus South Korea, and it's going down in Vegas. I think we're going to see some action here. You got Santos on a 3-fight win streak. He's 12-2 as a pro, 3-1 in the UFC. He really showed some bounce back, losing his debut UFC event. He seemed to, like I said, bounce back. He ended up winning his last fight by a dominant unanimous decision performance back in May over Young Lee, and he's staying in the South Korean atmosphere coming on against you here. So Santos, he's an aggressive fighter. He's willing to take some shots, to give some shots, and he will still keep moving forward. He's a bit of a wild man out there. He's not afraid to lay on the mat and show his jiu-jitsu skills. He's willing to work off the back. He's going to try to create some scrambles if he does get to the back, and he's very capable of doing that. Personally, I think he's going to be better off on the feet here with his 5 KO victories in his career. I think he could potentially get another one here. We'll see what happens. You got Zhu Zhang Yu coming in with a 4-inch reach advantage on a 12-fight win streak. He is undefeated as a professional at 9-0. So 3 of those fights on the streak came as an amateur. He's got some power in his shots. He's got 4 first-round KO victories. He comes in with his impressive debut effort in the UFC against Jekka, where he had 28-second KO within 28 seconds. He has some power with 4 first-round KOs. He comes in with an impressive 28-second KO victory over Jekka. Now, Jekka isn't the greatest fighter. He did have a 14-4 record. He has fought some decent UFC opponents, so he does have a little bit of experience on his side. And you came in and just knocked his head off. He's a solid UFC prospect. He's got good volume. He throws at a fast pace. He's very quick on the feet also. He can show some great lateral movements. He's quick to get in and out on strike while he's doing so. He also does decent at shooting some takedowns. As I mentioned, he's what the UFC wants to see here. He's willing to stand and bang. He's willing to go to the mat. He's well-rounded. He's skilled just about everywhere. I think Santos, though, has the more impressive UFC experience. He's obviously had a couple of more fights. I think Santos is going to come in here like a wild man. I think he's going to pressure you into getting a takedown. I think it's going to be back and forth. I think we're going to see some standing on the feet. I think we're going to see some rolling around on the ground, some grappling exchanges. I was leaning Santos in this one, but I'll tell you what, the power of you scares me a little bit here. I think either fighter could knock the other one's top off. I'm going to roll. I think the best bet in this one initially here is fight does not go the distance. I snagged that at plus 105. We got the bright lights. I don't think either of these guys have seen a pay-per-view card. Now they're on the undercard, but we're not going to have a full sold out, or we're going to have a sold out show. But I don't know if the seats are going to be full when this goes down. I think they're both going to come out like fucking maniacs, and I think someone's going to get the other one out of here. That's my take on this one. Fight does not go the distance. Mike's going to roll with the Piper Magomedov fight. Mike, I'm excited to hear what you're going to do in this one. How are we getting paid?
Long time ago, I learned that you don't fade a Magomedov, and we're going to go bomb hunting on this card tonight, this weekend here coming up. Joey Piper, look, body bags. Certainly he's capable of earning his nickname out there. What you notice when watching tape, he likes that bomb. He's got that hand kind of cocked and loaded and ready to swing. And I think that the challenge is he's kind of one-dimensional. Now, you can look back at his fight card and you can see that, Alessandro was able to go out there and pull a submission. That was the first time I think people saw that, holy cow, this guy might be able to wrestle, because tape says this guy's a pretty poor grappler. He likes to get, excited about carrying that bomb around and looking to launch that shot that puts his opponents to sleep. And, Marc-Andre Barriault is his most recent victim in that spot. But look, you know how I feel about the Canadian male fighters. I'll give him that Alessandro spot out there. It was GM3 that he KO'd before that. Is coming off of back-to-back wins. So we'll take that into consideration as you look at this Hermanson spot, though. Gassy McGastank was the issue that he kind of ran into there. And I think that's because he does kind of fall back on that one-punch power. He's looking to put the guy to sleep. And if you can take him in the deep waters, you potentially can see this guy gas out in either third round submission, knockout, or it even goes to the judges' scorecards. And the amount of gas that can deplete from this guy's tank might just not have the great optics that you're looking for in a judge's event. So not that I think this goes to the scorecards itself, but, look, on the other side of things, Magomedov, this guy's a rounded fighter. He's been in all kinds of fight promotions. He can certainly go out there and submit. He's a strong grappler. He's also capable of carrying that KO power. And, if you kind of look at his recent opponents out there, if you're going to play the UFC game, the opponents that he's lost to, look, Barala's one of those guys. We all know who this guy is. He's Mr. UFC. He's everywhere. We saw him in the Apex again the other night. Sean Strickland's another KO loss that he took out there. But you look at some of the guys that he's beaten, and they've gone on to successive victories themselves. And I think that's because this guy's a fierce competitor. He's 35 years old and in the UFC right now, with that experience to come to bat. Now, not quite the 7 years that we see the gap that I look for and trying to find that fighter that's got the 7-year advantage, but I think he's very capable of taking this fight deep, because the thing about when you look at Magomedov's situation, he's got long arms, and he uses, even though, you look at the paper here and you'll see that it's about, a 3-inch reach advantage, he uses those arms to his advantage. He kind of keeps the opponents at bay, and then you get frustrated and you do something stupid, and then because he's got that grappling capability, he shoots a takedown. He brings you to the mat, he gets some control time and chews up some clock. And granted, we've talked back and forth the last couple of weeks about whether there's a place for that in the UFC or not. There still is going to be a spot for these guys to be able to wrestle, but I just think there's, multifaceted opportunity, multifaceted opponent here in Magomedov to go out there and get the win. Yeah, Tapology loves this Piper guy, and, he's priced accordingly. I think this price tag's wrong. You got a 2-to-1 favorite. This comes down to me to implied probability. 70% of the time, we're going to see Joey Piper come out there and win this thing based on the price tag that he's sitting at. I don't see it. He's one-dimensional, and he's really comes down to either boom or bust. And that means 7 out of 10 times this guy's going to win. No chance I see that being the case out here. This is a coin flip, 50-50 at best. Anybody can win on any given day, and I think Magomedov can frustrate, wear this guy down, take him into those deep waters, and get us a nice 2-to-1 price tag. So I'm going to go with Magomedov. Not the big Magomedovs that we're used to, but a bus. Put me on the bus. I'm going to roll with Magomedov and see if we can get this big price tag. Subhuman Gaucho, looking forward to this one.
All right. Well, thank you, fellas. Yeah, I'm looking forward to 320. You know, I'm a big Willie Cat fan, so I'm looking forward to fight Jeff broke down there, and I like a little dog shot myself. I have been eyeing that one, so I'm excited for Mike's fight. How about Mike fading a Philly trained fighter? I never thought I'd see the day, but yeah, we'll talk about that come Saturday. After this fight, you know, Soriano Veretetnikov. I do recall Mike fight breaking down Veretetnikov ahead of the Austin Vanderford fight. You know, neither of these guys are guys that I particularly like to back. Both have some holes and whatnot, but you know, and I came to this fight late in the week, and something stuck out to me here. You know, Veretetnikov, he's got some skills, especially on the feet. I think he's actually the far cleaner striker technically in this matchup, but he's got some gaping holes, especially in the wrestling. I mean, this guy can be taken down; he can be held down. You know, speaking of that. That Vanderford fight, you know, Vanderford was able to ground him and really put a hurting on him, eventually gets him out there late in round 2. You know, I can't imagine that he's really fixed that, because he comes back after that and he gets a split decision win over Francisco Prado as a slight underdog. So, you know, cashing in as an underdog for Veretetnikov, you know, it's nice and everything, but the red flags came up in that fight again too. You know, Francisco Prado is a guy that he has no business being a welterweight. He really should be a lightweight. Way too short for this weight class, just way too small. He's got to get his stuff together and move down. But Prado, not particularly known for being a wrestler, and he's taking Veretetnikov down, and he's doing it with some relative ease. That's pretty bearish on the Veretetnikov side. Now, when it comes to Soriano, oh man, this guy, you know, he's pretty skilled, but I don't like his process on the feet. You know, as I said, I think he's not as technically sound as Veretetnikov when you get right down to it. What he does have on the feet is power. I mean, he's got a big overhand right. He can put people out with it. And as a matter of fact, came in as a plus 180 underdog against Earlis Medic last fight and starched him in about 30 seconds with that overhand. So, you know, were this a 15-minute kickboxing match, I think these odds would be a whole lot closer. You know, this line has gotten steamed. You're seeing Soriano at this point close to a minus 300. Not really the range that I particularly like betting Soriano in, especially when you look and you just do a little bit of a market analysis. You know, in his 4 losses, he was a favorite, and a fairly sizable favorite at that, in 3 of them. So betting a guy, you know, at a minus 300 who has lost as a big favorite on that many occasions is a little bit sketchy. But I think Punahele can do exactly what, you know, Prado had a lot of success doing, and especially what Austin Vanderford had a lot of success doing. And that's taken Veretetnikov down. You know, Soriano, for all of his, for all the woes that I have about his process on the feet and whatnot, he's got a good fight IQ, especially it's come out more and more later and later into his career. You know, when he's up against a good grappler, he'll get out there and he'll sprawl and brawl, and he'll avoid the ground like it's lava. When he's out there with a guy where he has the grappling advantage, he'll put the wrestling shoes on. He's got some pretty good wrestling, and he'll just take him down and rinse and repeat. I expect he's going to shoot, you know, probably a half a dozen takedowns here, and I expect he'll get, say, 3 of them, you know, maybe 4 of them. I think he can ground Veretetnikov. I think he can win a lot of minutes on top, but maybe a little bit unlike Austin Vanderford, I don't think that Punahele has Punahele Soriano, pardon me, has the sort of aggressive ground and pound that that Austin Vanderford has. So I think he'll win a lot of minutes on top. I think he'll chew up a lot of clock doing so. And so what I really like here is the Punahele Soriano. Gosh, that's a tough name. Soriano decision, but I played it a little bit safer, you know, keeping a kind of round 3 submission or ground and pound on my side. Soriano round 3 or decision plus 170. You know, if you wanted to ladder to decision, I think that's great too. Book's being a little stingy this week, but if you can get like a pick 'em on, say, Soriano to win and round 2 to start, I think that's a pretty sound bet. But I like the Soriano side, man. I think he's chalky for a reason. Seems like there's money coming in on the over. I think a lot of people are seeing what I'm seeing, which is a a big advantage for Soriano on the ground, and I expect he's going to take advantage of it here. All that said, can't wait for this Saturday. Let's wrap her up, and I will see you then, I hope.
Club. Thank you guys all for watching. You can see on the right-hand side the recap, 3+ money plays to try to beat these books before we get to Saturday's fight night. Of course, lots of things happening in the world of sports money. It's been a little bit of a slower week with the Major League Baseball playoffs kind of dominating the sports landscape. But we're going to be back to regular program. You can catch us live Thursday night football. We'll be rolling Saturday for the big UFC 320 show. We've got Sunday night. Get ready for them new Bills unis. They are sharp. MMA Jeff, tell them what's going on. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me over at X and Winnable, MMA Jeff 19. And of course, we're on the Sports Money Network. We're going to, as Mike had mentioned, we got Saturday's big show and looking to cash. Good luck this week.
Subhuman Gaucho, great job. Looking forward to seeing this plus 170 get to my bag, baby. Tell them what's going on. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, just reach out on twitter.com, Subhuman Gaucho, 2 O's. Don't have a whole lot of Champions League action this week, but I have been talking to a lot of people in the DMs and whatnot. We've been putting together some stuff every morning. So yeah, reach out. We got some Europa and whatnot tomorrow, but most of all, Saturday 320. It's going to be a banger. Looking forward to it.
Thank you guys all for watching. Make sure, again, you smash that thumbs up button for us. Doesn't cost you anything. It only takes a second, and it helps us out immensely. If you want to leave a comment, talk to us about your favorite fighter for this weekend. If you're going to tail or you're going to fade, let's get that cash. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see you guys live on Saturday, 6:45 p.m. out of Las Vegas. Going to be UFC 320 on behalf of the Sports Money crew. Thank you guys all. Good luck with your betting, and we'll see you guys soon.